On average, a solar storm happens every 150 years, and the last time a solar storm happened was 155 years ago. So that means we are overdue. After you die, your brain will still be active for about 7 minutes, so you will know when you die.
Whoa.
Spiders usually travel in groups, so if you see a spider in your room, there's probably a few more. And for
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. How you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are doing alright, man. If you guys are brand new to the channel, you guys don't know what we do. We break down scary and creepy videos, man, on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, Facebook, IG videos, man. Anything weird, usual, and unexplained you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank my supporters, man, who's tapping into the channel, subscribing, hitting that like button, man, hitting that post notification bell so you all guys always get notified when I upload my next video. You guys are helping the channel so much, man, trying to push us into this algorithm. I greatly appreciate the support. Found this video for you guys today, man. Let's do what we do best, seekers. Let's seek the truth.
The elevator game. The point of this game is to go to a parallel universe. To play, you need to go to a building that has at least 10 floors. And you need to be the only one in the elevator at all times. If somebody interrupts the game, start over. Then go to the floors 4, 2, 6, 2, 10, and 5, in this exact same order. Once you're in the 5th floor, a woman should enter the elevator. But don't speak to her and don't look at her, because she's not a human. And she will take you and keep you with her forever if you interact with her. Then press the 1st floor and the elevator will go up or down, but it will take you to the 10th floor. At this point, leave the elevator immediately. The woman will ask you where are you going, but do not respond. If you see a red cross outside one of the windows, then you reach the other world. You're alone there, your phone doesn't work, and it's dark outside. Go back, do the steps all over again. But when you reach the 1st floor and something doesn't feel right, don't leave the elevator, because you will die. Would you play this game?
Creatures in the back.
Did you play that game, Seekers? No, man. When they be suggesting these games and stuff we should play, I never played it, man. That's too much bad energy around for me. I can't deal with that.
Groups, part 4.
Whoa.
The windows are entities in the shape of windows. The windows have a figure inside, always pointing at its target. If the target is unaware of the figure, it will attack immediately. If not, the figure will try to bargain with the target. Never trust any windows on any level.
In the back rooms? Okay. Damn. You got a story with this one. Okay. Whoa. Same sequence over and over again? Somebody was trying to communicate with her through Morse code? Whoa, what the hell? Daddy. That's a creepy ass story. She said the same sequence kept happening over and over again, man. It's Morse code. I've always wanted to learn Morse code, man, because I feel like, you know, sometimes if you get into a situation, it's best to, you know how to get a message out without, trying to be so direct. It can save your life. And she was communicating with something else through Morse code, so I'd never going to have to check that out. Disneyland. We know Disneyland likes to hide stuff and keep things behind the scenes. You heard a couple of stories. Hanging on the rafters on the facade? What the hell? It was a doll? that one. So freaking, I know that's gonna have some questions down below, man. Theories. People thought it was a child, but it was actually a doll that was hanging on the side of the rafters in Disneyland. You guys, we've heard a couple of stories about Disneyland. You know how they like to keep stuff hidden from the public and stuff like that, so they don't want no accidents on their park. So that one really raises questions. Just gotta be aware.
This is why you should always sprint up your stairs at night. In 2018, a boy was up late gaming in his basement when he decided to go to bed. The basement's only light was controlled by a pull chain at the foot of the stairs, which meant after he pulled it, he'd be downstairs in darkness, so he would sprint up the stairs.
Hell yeah.
Because everybody knows if you're not fast enough, this guy'll get you. So he did just that, and he made it upstairs safely when he realized he had forgotten his phone in the basement. So he took a deep breath and headed right back down.
Why didn't he just turn on the light? Is that an edit? You know, we can spot those. Those kids do not look like they enjoying the Easter Bunny. The first couple of kids. It's like they're traumatizing them, bro. You see the kids don't like them.
Short, scary story. It was 1 a.m. and Calvin sat in his dark living room. The accident from earlier that evening just kept replaying over and over in his head. He was in his car and the light turned red, but he was in a hurry, so he just accelerated.
Okay.
All of a sudden, he saw an orange blur, and before he knew it, there was a body on top of his car that slid down onto the pavement beside him. A bicyclist rolled across his hood and fell out of sight. Horns started blazing and he panicked and he just drove off into the darkness. So now he just sat at home thinking, you idiot, how could you do that? And then he heard a knock on his door. It was the police. He started freaking out. He knew he couldn't afford a lawyer. He just began explaining, I'm sorry, officer. But the police officer just stood there and said, are you Calvin? I'm sorry, but your son was in a hit-and-run accident. He died on impact. I'm sorry for your loss.
No way. That's like one of the most chilling stories you heard. He was in an accident and it was his son, man, and he left the scene. Whoa. I guess that's why that's what a cops or the law says, man. When you're in an accident, something like that, you're never supposed to leave the scene because you just never know who that person is. Try to contact the ambulance, man. You just can't. That's hit and run. You can't do that. That's against the law. Look what happened. And the energy will revert back to you. Do something wrong, the energy will just come back to you. It may take a couple of days or years. It's gonna catch up to you. Whoa.
Okay, you won't believe what I found. I just found something extremely dark. If you look at the Texas Department of Criminal Justice website, you'll see death row information. A list of people the government has killed, and you get to see who they are, what their crime was, their last statement, their name, jail number, and even the county they were killed in. Ooh, look, they have career opportunities. Funny thing is, the data is updated in real time, and the last person that was put down was on February 6th, 2020.
Really? You can check that out?
Disturbing facts you didn't ask for, but you're getting anyways. Now, I love The Wizard of Oz. It was my favorite movie growing up. But did you know that a lot of messed up things happened during the filming of this movie? Judy Garland was forced on a diet of soup, crackers, and 80 cigarettes a day. She was routinely groped and molested by a lot of the Munchkin actors. She was forced to film many, many hours every day and then given drugs to help her sleep. This actually contributed to her drug addiction and eventual overdose. She was even slapped by one of the directors on set. Additionally, there's a rumor that one of the Munchkin actors hanged himself on set, which many people believe can be seen in the background of one of the scenes.
We know these movies, man, like I said, they be having like cursed productions and stuff like that, especially when it comes to horror movies. But to hear that happen on The Wizard of Oz, how many kids and people watch that movie? It's gonna make me view that movie differently, man. You know, people used to watch that all the time. It's like when we learn this information, it changes the way how we look at things. Wonder how many people know about the true story of the Wizard of the Oz. We're gonna have to one day we're gonna have to dive deep into these Hollywood productions, man, the behind the scenes, because there's something going on.
What is a fact that could possibly save your life? If you encounter a mountain lion, do not turn your back on it. Walk backwards. Cats are ambush predators. They don't want to fight you head on and will wait for you to turn around to attack.
Okay.
In a crisis situation, people run from the door they came from. When the shooter walks into a restaurant, run for the kitchen. There's always an exit through the kitchen, and very few people will think to run there. Plus, if you're not armed, a kitchen is full of killer cutlery to defend yourself with. If someone is trying to abduct you, and fighting back or yelling for help doesn't work, then pretend to faint, or vomit on them. If those tactics don't work, then take the chance of getting stabbed or shot to escape. Once you get in a vehicle with the abductor, your odds of surviving are less than if just injured in public. 3 minutes without air, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food.
Would you
If you are
choose?
ever caught in an avalanche and buried under the snow, spit. Gravity will tell you which way is up.
Oh. We learned some facts today, man. Tap in with
These are
us.
things that you do not want to know. Part 1. On average, a solar storm happens every 150 years, and the last time a solar storm happened was 155 years ago. So that means we are overdue. After you die, your brain will still be active for about 7 minutes, so you will know when you die.
Whoa.
Spiders usually travel in groups, so if you see a spider in your room, there's probably a few more. And for the last one, if you're not following me, this will be in your closet tonight.
Crazy facts,
Maybe
man.
stuff that's happened to you lot part 2. This happened about 3 years ago. I woke up about 7 AM for school as normal and got on with the everyday routine. Brush hair, get dressed and eat breakfast. When I was done, I got in the car and went to school. When I got there, everyone was acting like I was invisible. When the teacher shouted my name in the register, I responded and she marked me down as absent. I went to call my dad because I was upset, but I realised I didn't have my phone. This went on for the whole day. At the end of the day, I got in the car and went home. I went to my room to go and lie on my bed when I saw myself in my bed. I screamed and woke up in my bed crying, with my dad sitting next to me saying she's finally awake. I couldn't wake up, and when I asked what time it was, he said it was 4 PM and that I'd missed a whole day of school because I was in a sleep coma. My dad made that term up. But when I went to school as normal the next day, I remembered all the lessons and everything from the day before. I believe that I had an out-of-body experience, but I can't be sure.
What do you guys think, man? She was in a sleep coma, or did she, like, have memories, man, of... Because she said she knew what was going to happen, so it seems like she freaking had some... She could see into the future or something like that? Maybe not see to the future, but she just, like, she had already lived that day. Or she had, like, memories of something. Because she was in a sleep coma. I mean, has that ever happened to you guys where, like, you guys were, I guess, sleeping and you had a memory that was, like, or a dream that was, like, so vivid that you thought it was real? And then it kind of happens, like, the next day, but you think it may be deja vu or something? Happened to me a couple of times.
Crazy facts. Part 61. Due to the genetic makeup of our eyes, we see better in the dark with our peripheral vision. If you didn't know, that's out of the corner of your eye. Basically, the two things that help us to be able to see is rods and cones. Cones help us detect color, while rods help with light intensity.
Okay.
We have more rods in our peripheral vision than we do in our central vision, which means that the corners of our eyes are better able to see in the dark. So, keeping that in mind, if you see something out of the corner of your eye in the dark when you're trying to go to sleep, but it's not there when you look right at it, it could possibly be there, theoretically.
Send this video to someone that is absolutely terrified of clowns. A young boy named Nathan was walking alone to meet up with some friends at a nearby carnival. When he arrived, they rode roller coasters and eventually made their way to a circus tent with live performers. They went inside and saw a group of clowns performing. They were dancing, juggling, and one of them was riding a unicycle. The boys got closer to the stage, and the one riding the unicycle slipped and fell, and his red nose landed right beside Nathan, who picked it up, put it in his pocket, figuring the clown had plenty more. After the show was over, Nathan was walking back home when suddenly he heard a slight chuckle. He turned around and shined his flashlight. He could make out a shadowy figure holding a sharp object in his hand. The figure said in a creepy, sinister voice, "I believe you have something of mine." Nathan slowly backed away, pleading, "No, I don't. Please leave me alone." The figure stepped into the light. It was the clown from the carnival. He said, "Well, if you're not going to give me my nose, I'm gonna need yours."
Remember, man, that craze a couple of years ago, you guys, man, how people were dressing up as clowns and just scaring people, man. I remember that big craze. It was on YouTube. It was everywhere. It was like a dangerous time, man. It's like some people, you know, took that clown crap too far. I'm not scared of clowns, but sometimes they do be looking creepy if you look at them long enough, man. I don't think they're my jam. You guys, if you guys stay with me to the end of the video, you're a truth seeker seeking the truth. I really appreciate the support, man. Like I said, guys, we're uploading every single day, so hopefully you guys, man, are enjoying my efforts, man, of trying to get these videos out to you guys every single day. Like I said, subscribe, hit that post notification bell, hit that like button. Gonna continue to grow, continue to get better with each and every video. I'm out. Peace, YouTube. What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are doing all right, man. If you guys are brand new to the channel, what we do is we break down scary and creepy videos on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, Facebook, IG, anything weird, usual, and unexplained you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank my supporters, man, who's tapping in with us, subscribing, hitting that post notification bell, man, hitting that like button, and you guys are really helping us push us in the algorithm, man. Right now I know we're small, but we continue to grow, man. We're gonna be up there, so continue to do that. We're on our way. Found this video for you guys today. Let's do what we do best. Let's seek the truth.
Facts that you wish you never knew.
Okay.
Part 21. This photo shows an 8-month-old Xiao Bao who was lucky to be alive because his mother stabbed him 90 times after he bit her while she was breastfeeding him. The world's scariest haunted house, McCamey Manor, requires you to sign a 40-page waiver and undergo a physical and mental evaluation.
Ooh.
If you manage to make it through the house, you could win $20,000.
Free money?
But to this day, no one has ever made it through. The little girl who voiced Ducky in The Land Before Time was shot to death by her father, who then committed suicide. Roman Emperor Nero had a boy castrated, dressed him up as a bride, and married him, all because the boy looked similar to his previous dead wife. A 46-year-old man found and attacked a 13-year-old boy because the kid was killing him too many times in a game of Call of Duty.
What the hell in COD?
This is
Come
what
on, be
your
better.
poems actually mean. Put your hands together and analyze which line pattern you have. Number
Okay.
1, if your left-hand line is lower, this means you're independent and don't care what other people think of you. You keep your opinion to yourself, which is why you'll become wise one day. Number 2, if your left-hand line is higher, it means you're a super adventurous person. You're extremely confident and don't need to rush into relationships. And you can become anything because you're super independent.
Really?
Number 3, if your lines are the same, this means you're strong-minded and charming. You're gentle, sensitive, and care what other people think.
Okay, Seekers, what line do you have? I'm number 3. Mine's matched, so I think I have some of those qualities she has. But tell me down below, man. You guys 1, 2, or 3 when it comes to the palm lines, bro. I'm definitely in the middle. So it's just the facts we learned today. Tap in with us. What? An oil? People have to be better, man. Plain and simple.
3 facts that could save your life, part 4. If you ever disturb a wasp's nest, don't run for the water. The wasps are so smart they'll wait for you to resurface and then continue to sting you. If you're ever buried in an avalanche, you must spit. Your saliva will follow the gravity and you can dig the opposite way, making it easier to get out. Do you ever struggle in school, especially in math? All you have to do is take a picture of your math problem, and GothMath shows you exactly step by step on how it got the answer and the answer itself. Just in case your teacher is extremely annoying with asking you to show your work. The link is in my bio and it's completely free.
I need to hit that up, man. If I ever have some problems with math, that got me through a couple of rough times and some rough spots in math, I highly recommend it, man. Save my ass on one or more occasion, bro, especially when it came to math. You all been there. Edit, We've been doing this for a minute, so we can definitely just call them out now when we see it.
How rare is your body? Only 5% of people have blonde hair, and the most common hair in the world is black. And only 7% of the world is capable of tickling themselves. And 25% of people automatically sneeze when they look up at the sun. And only 1% of people have vitiligo. This is a skin condition which allows areas to lose pigment, which causes them to become different colors. And 20% of people have one pupil bigger than the other. And 91.6% of people have a clockwise hair whirl.
This boy claimed he remembered his past life until his parents discovered he wasn't lying. A Syrian boy named Arius was born with a particular red birthmark on his face. As soon as he could speak, he explained to his parents that he had already lived another life as a different man, claiming he was actually murdered with an axe by his own neighbor. Turns out, a man had actually gone missing in their village years earlier, and the neighbor was the prime suspect. So Arius and his parents went to the neighbor's house to find out the truth. When the neighbor opened the door, he turned white as a ghost, claiming he was innocent. But Arius demanded the neighbor come with him, because he knew where his body was actually buried. Arius led them miles from the village to a specific spot under a tree, and they began digging. They found a skull that was cracked exactly where Arius' birthmark was. Everyone was shocked, and the neighbor was later arrested.
That's a plain case of reincarnation. That's what it sounds like to me, man. That's my first time, I guess, seeing like full hardcore evidence of it. He knew exactly where it was at. He remembered. That's like all the freaking yeah. Sounds like reincarnation. What comes around, it's gonna come back to you, man. You think you get away with something? The energy's gonna come back and get you. You learning today, Seekers.
The rarest human mutations that actually exist. About 25% of people have photic sneeze reflex, which means they can sneeze just by looking up at the sun. And about 3% of the population have no odor at all. Now 80% of people have lines that form an M on their palm, and many people believe this is a sign of good fortune. However, 4% of people have an X on their palm, which means they'll become great leaders.
Most unusual places in the world. Located in Quebec, Canada, this forest has a pretty creepy atmosphere. It might be because the ground looks like it's moving, making it seem like Mother Earth is taking a deep breath. This next one is actually terrifying. Located in Penang, Malaysia, this huge water tornado was getting extremely close to this apartment building. Fortunately, it stopped right in front of the building because it ran out of water. And how about this one? It used to be a hiking area before it got flooded, so everything you see here used to be above water. Imagine being a fish and seeing this appear out of nowhere.
That's like my first time seeing a water tornado. It was like that close to the building. That's actually scary. And it stopped because there was no more water, so it can form. People have to be careful, man, these areas we're living in. Where's the sky? We know that's an edit. If y'all see some edits, man, call them out down below.
That almost no human can do. Number 1, this requires very flexible fingers, and only 3% of people can do it.
I can do it.
This is known as the paralyzed finger trick, and only 1% of people can do it. First, place your hand on the table and then bend your middle finger like that. Now try lifting your ring finger off the table. Number 3, this is where you raise one eyebrow like this guy, and only 5% of people can do it. Number 4, this is where you make a V shape with your hand like this, and only 3% of people can do it. Now comment which one you can do.
1 and 3. I can't do the eyebrow like The Rock. That's his signature,
Creepy
right?
fact you didn't know about. This sound is just a cat meowing. Sadly, the cat died after the video of it meowing was recorded.
Ooh.
The owner slowed it down and made this an audio. If you don't believe me, speed it up.
We've heard that audio a couple of times. Now we know that's a cat meowing. It's
Be
creepy.
careful what you put in your body. In 2014, a couple returned to their home to find it trashed in baffling ways. There was lotion all over the door handles, all of their shoes had had their soles ripped off of them, and someone had dumped an entire can of paint all over the toilet.
Really?
Despite the obvious break-in, the police come and can't find any evidence of theft, so they leave thinking the couple's not in danger anymore. That night, the couple hears scratching underneath their bed and what sounds like a crying animal. Not wanting to find out what it was, they leave and call the cops, who come right back and start investigating the house.
Smart.
And they make a startling discovery in their bedroom. Wedged underneath the couple's bed was this 90-pound tiny little woman carrying a huge butcher's knife and a hypodermic needle. As they're taking this crazy lady away in handcuffs, one of the officers comes over to the couple and is like, so she was high on meth, and for at least 2 hours,
She had been burrowing a hole in the underside of your mattress with that knife to get to you.
Ooh.
Disturbing body
Pretty
facts
good.
that will ruin your day. When you get a kidney transplant, they actually leave your original kidney in your body, and they place your third kidney in your pelvis.
Whoa.
And if you wake up because of a loud bang sound, you might actually have exploding head syndrome. It's not painful, but the sensation can be super terrifying. And according to brain surgeons, the brain is not solid at all. It's usually compared to the texture of melted butter. And during your lifetime, you will produce enough saliva to fill up 2 Olympic-sized swimming pools.
Damn, what
Things
the
almost
hell?
no humans can do, part I'm not sure, and if you can, then you're bloody weird. This is where you raise one eyebrow like the Rock. And only 5% of humans can actually do this.
Can't, not
Run
me.
this video if you can do it.
I can't.
This might be the most brutal way somebody has ever died, and whatever you do, don't look up the picture.
I won't.
Octavio de Silva was a 20-year-old soccer referee in Brazil, and on June 30th, 2013, he was refereeing a soccer game when he sent off a player named Josmir Santos Abreu, who was 31 years old. He
Okay.
refused to leave the field and began a fight with the referee. Abreu threw a punch which made Octavio draw a knife from his pocket and repeatedly stab Abreu.
Ooh.
Abreu died on the way to the hospital, and when fans watching the game, including Abreu's family and friends, found out about his death, they invaded the field and stoned Octavio before decapitating him,
Ooh.
and then ripping his limbs from his body with just their strength and no weapons, and then put his head on a stick in the middle of the field. And what makes this worse is that a graphic video surfaced online shortly after the incident, showing medical personnel reassembling Octavio's body. The video and pictures are extremely disturbing, and I don't recommend looking them up. The way his limbs looked after being ripped off is extremely unsettling to look at, because you see strings of flesh, tissue, and bone because it wasn't cut off properly and it was just ripped off. This case is absolutely awful, but why did Octavio pull out a knife when somebody just punched him? If he didn't stab Josmir Abreu to death, he would still be alive today. But just imagine being literally ripped limb from limb by an angry group of soccer fans, and there's nothing you can do as they pull your body apart.
One of you is going to end
It's
up
a
dead.
crazy
This
case.
is a chilling statement that friends of this couple made prior to a horrifying turn of events. On the 25th of March 2022, 24-year-old OnlyFans model Abigail White killed her boyfriend. She stabbed Bradley Lewis through the heart with a kitchen knife when he told her he wanted to finish the relationship. When police arrived at the scene, she actually tried to tell them that he'd done this to himself, but she quickly confessed. She said that she'd never meant to hurt him. Abigail was found guilty of murder and sentenced to 18 years in prison. Shockingly, despite being in prison, she has been able to find a new boyfriend on the outside.
And people on the outside in, man, they called it. They said that relationship was going to end bad. Like, sometimes, man, we got to heed people advice because they can see things that we just can't see. We think they're overreacting, but she hit the nail on the head. And look what happened. Another crazy case.
I thought that I had seen everything when it came to cults, but you are not prepared for what this cult believes. So HBO just released this documentary about the Love is One cult, which was run by this woman, Amy Carlson, who calls herself Mother God. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but she believed she was controlled by the spirit of Robin Williams, and this, like, yassified version of Saint Germain. Also, I cover a lot of dark stuff on this page, so you should follow along. She also said she could channel and get advice from this, like, galactic federation of dead celebrities. There's, like, Mr. Rogers, Carrie Fisher, Steve Irwin, and randomly Donald Trump, who is not dead. But Robin Williams is at the top, and so the cult believes they're getting a lot of advice through Robin Williams, so they'll say things like, so one of the beliefs that this cult has is that one day Robin Williams is going to arrive in a spaceship to take Mother God away so that she can spiritually ascend. He also told her that she can only be 103 pounds to get on the spaceship, which is why she's trying to lose a lot of weight. Eventually, Mother God starts getting sicker and sicker, and also bluer and bluer because of the colloidal silver supplements they won't stop giving her, and everyone thinks, oh my god, Robin Williams must be coming on a spaceship really soon to help Mother ascend. Eventually, she passes away, and guess what? Shockingly, Robin Williams does not descend in an intergalactic spaceship to come collect the 103-pound body of Mother God.
You don't say.
So the cult members just have her body. They don't know what to do with it. They thought Robin Williams was going to come. So they hang out with it for 12 days until the police finally show up. Anyways, this whole thing is a trip. You just gotta watch it to believe it.
So they was hanging out with that body for 12 days. Man, when people, when they deep into that, when they deep into their groups and they cult things, man, they believe anything and everything. That's just a prime example. Man, I wonder how many other crazy things are out there that people believe. I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole. Call out the edits, man, when y'all see him.
Imagine being an animal so vile and wild. Not only did you traumatize a researcher, everything he learned about you had to be hidden from the public for almost 100 years. That's what happened to George Murray Levick. He was on an expedition in 1911 when he ran into a group of Adelie penguins. It was the largest colony on Earth, and since nobody had ever spent a whole breeding cycle there, George decided to be first. Oh, he f***ed around, and he spent 3 months finding out. What he found out was Adelie penguins are 50 shades of foul play. No pun intended, maybe. He watched a male penguins attempt to mate with literally anything, including other males, injured females, and even unsupervised penguin chicks. What? Now, but what really messed him up was watching a male score with a past tense, past expiration date female. Apparently, penguins aren't above self-service because he also witnessed one male get it on with an extra curvy piece of snowdrift. To completion, he was so appalled he referred to them as hooligan cocks. And remember, this was 1911. That had to be some kind of slur. George quickly realized that if male penguins understand consent, they could not care less about it, because he reportedly watched one female that was too injured to walk try to crawl away, only for 2 hooligans to catch up to her and demoralize both her and George. I don't even know why he did this, because like, what more do you have to prove? But at one point he did an experiment where he took the frozen decapitated head of a penguin and put it on a pile of snow just to see how low the flightless felons could go. The answer was low enough. George put every messed up thing he learned in a manuscript, and the British Museum of Natural History decided history was exactly what his studies would be when they vaulted it, until it was rediscovered almost 100 years later in 2012. All that trauma, and he didn't even live to see it get published. But the worst part, these are Adelie penguins. Yep, it all adds up in the end.
He's the world.
The thing that got to me is, man, he did all this research, he wrote it down, I guess, to try to tell everybody, but they just decided to vault it, and then now got released. Like, when they decided we should learn those things, that makes you question, man, what else they vaulted that they deemed that we're not ready to learn yet. A lot of information out there. Just something to think about.
Smallest prisoner, you'll never guess the terrible things he's done. Part 2. Caroline saw a 5-year-old son stood in front of the oven, his face full of shock and confusion. He tried to explain, but his words were slurred, and he could only give bits and pieces. Caroline and her husband immediately realized that their son had inadvertently shut his sister in the oven, and that he had turned on the oven's heat. Caroline rushed to the oven and quickly opened the door. The heat from the oven hit her, and she saw the tiny figure. Her skin blackened by the heat already dying, she hurriedly grabbed out her daughter and rushed to the car with her husband, driving as fast as she could to the hospital along the way.
Damn.
Caroline and her husband's hearts hung in their throats. They kept praying that their daughter would pull through. However, their world completely collapsed when the doctors told them that the child could not be saved. Due to the severity of her injuries, the incident left the Ashley family in deep grief.
Worst ways people have died, part 1. In 2016, a mother pushed her son on a swing for 2 days straight, non-stop, until he passed away. It turns out that sadly, she was mentally ill and was then sent to a mental institution. In 2018, a man named Keno Butler and his wife, Wendy Thompson, were drinking when they started having an argument. Wendy then attacked him with a knife and got him in the hand with it. But she didn't stop there. She then decided to jump on top of him, smothering him with over 300 pounds of body fat and sadly suffocating him. Before I tell you the last one, your boyfriend or girlfriend falls off a cliff with $20 billion. You can only save one. Who are you saving?
Girlfriend, man, easy choice.
Let me know down below. In 2021, Karina Smith had discovered that her own husband had been being very inappropriate with their children when they were younger. You won't believe this. She then filled a pot with boiling hot sugar water and dumped it on him while he was sleeping. He didn't survive that painful revenge.
Most Scary Urban Legends, Part 6. This is Krasu. She's a Thailand legend. She's a female spirit who wanders the fields at night. At first you would just see her face, until you look down and she has no body, and just her internal organs. Her guts are usually covered with fresh red blood. Her face appears to look somewhat like a vampire's. She has very sharp teeth and sometimes has a blue halo around her head. She is always hungry for meat, whether that be animal meat or human meat. Before she goes hunting, she hides her headless body somewhere safe, and she needs to come back to it before sunrise. And then she becomes a normal person again for the day with no differences from anybody else. One of her origins was that she was a princess who was forced to marry a high-ranked Seminese member who killed her people in battle. But she loved somebody else and was caught with them by the Seminese member. She was then sentenced to be burned alive. She then asked the witch for help, who summoned a spell on her immune to fire, but the spell worked too late, and everything was burned besides her internal organs and head.
What do you guys think? The guys believe those urban legends, man?
These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night.
Here
when
we go.
Apollo 11 landed, it only had 20 seconds of remaining fuel. 4 months ago, a deceased rapper by the name Gunu had his corpse on stage while fans were partying around his body. The average person wastes 5 months of their lives waiting for red lights to turn green. Cruise ships have morgues, just in case someone, you know, during the trip. If you have red eyes after swimming, it's not from chlorine. It's from the chlorine mixing with other people's urine. The furthest part of the ocean from land is Point Nemo. If you get stuck there, you're not coming back. Sunburn are your cells dying to avoid being cancerous. Most laugh tracks and shows are people from the 50s, which means you're hearing the laughter of dead people. Yeah, there's a lot more, like for part 14.
What he said about Point Nemo, man. Now I'm thinking about it. Was Nemo with the movie? Is that based off that point? You guys know, man, our movies and medias now that I've been watching these videos with you guys, they're really based off of like some horrifying stories. That's something to keep in mind. Anything about Gruesome, I didn't even believe about that until I guess this video confirmed it. I remember seeing it trending, but I assumed it was fake. Why on stage though? Edit. We've been doing this, man. We can spot them out.
Disturbing facts that will ruin your life. If you were to be pulled into a black hole, the point of gravity from your head to your toes is so powerfully different that the closer you get, they start to stretch and pull apart. It's called spaghettification. A body can swell to 3 times the normal size, especially if the person passes away in a bathtub. In the 1800s, photographing posed dead bodies was a very normal practice. The smell of vomit actually comes from butyric acid, as does the smell of Parmesan cheese. If you shine a flashlight or smartphone on a newborn sea turtle for too long, it will start crawling around in circles, known as the ring of death. It means that the turtle's eyesight has been permanently damaged due to mistaking your lights for the moon that guides it to sea. By doing this, you have doomed that sea turtle to death right after birth. The bacteria in gingivitis is contagious. Be careful who you kiss. Armadillos can carry leprosy and pass it onto humans just by being in proximity. When it comes to heart disease, sometimes the very first symptom is sudden death, meaning you could be perfectly healthy and drop dead because you had heart disease and did not know it. The wondrous smell you get while cutting grass is actually a chemical distress signal. You're smelling the silent screams of your lawn. The outside of your eye prevents your immune system from ever knowing about the inside of your eye. If a puncture allows the two to meet, your immune system may attack and destroy your eye as an invader. Hit the plus sign if you want to learn more facts.
This is
Top in with us, you learn it.
I've ever heard, and it ended up being true. But in Canada, there was this legend that one night a bunch of people saw a bright blue light in the sky, and the next day, an entire village of people disappeared. It turns out that legend is rooted in something that really happened. This is coming from this week's episode. I have a whole series on urban legends that ended up being true, and it's a very scary listen.
About to check it
in
out.
Canada in 1930, a fur trapper named Joe LaBelle was riding in the river in his canoe when he came to a village he had seen before. Except this time when he came upon it, it looked like everyone had left in a hurry. Food was still cooking, and a bunch of dogs were barking and super hungry as if they had been left behind. But the strangest part of all of this was in the middle of the community, there was a grave that had been disturbed. And that reminded the fur trapper of a very scary story he had heard. The legend of the Tornrak, which was this demon that supposedly stalked the area. So he starts looking for someone who might know what happened to these people. They were a nomadic people. It didn't make any sense that they would have left all of their stuff behind.
Okay.
And that's when he finds a man in a hospital who was potentially part of the village. The man is so freaked out. He won't say anything at first, but eventually Joe gets him to talk, and he recognizes one word that the man says. Tornrak, the name of the evil deity that was potentially in the area. The police basically don't believe any of this, but they do acknowledge that before the disappearance, they did see blue lights in the sky that no one has been able to figure out what they were. I get more into the theories of what may have happened in this episode, and I also talk a little bit more about other urban legends that ended up being true.
Top 5 urban legends that turned out to be real. Chuck E. Cheese animatronics move on their own. Chuck E. Cheese has been long rumored to be haunted by animatronic figures that move on their own, even when the power is off. These tales were often dismissed as mere urban legends meant to spook children. However, in 2019, a former employee's testimony brought an eerie truth to light. The employee recounted how during after-hour maintenance, the animatronics would occasionally shift positions or emit sounds despite being turned down. This phenomenon was actually captured on video showing an animatronic character moving its eyes and mouth when the restaurant was closed. The unsettling footage showed the animatronic's eyes flickering to life and their mouths moving silently. One night, the employee was cleaning when they noticed an animatronic had shifted slightly from its usual position. At first, they thought it was just a trick of the light or a mistake, but then the animatronic's eyes glowed eerily in the darkened room. A soft mechanical whirring sound filled the air and its mouth began to move as if it was speaking. Desperate to prove they weren't imagining things, the employees set up a camera the next night. The footage showed the animatronics moving on their own, their eyes darting around and their mouths opening and closing in the darkness. The video spread among the staff, many of whom had had their own unsettling experiences. Some reported hearing faint, childlike laughter when the restaurant was empty, while others felt cold spots and the sensation of being watched. If you have the guts, follow for the next urban legend.
Creepy facts about your body you're gonna wish you didn't know. When you go down a drop on a roller coaster and you suddenly feel your stomach drop, it's not just you feeling nervous. What you're feeling are your organs actually moving. Have you ever noticed that an older person in your life seems to have very long, large ears? That's because your ears will never stop growing. Across your lifetime, you will spend an average of an entire year just sitting on a toilet. When we see brains outside of the human body, they usually look pretty solid, but your brain, while inside your skull while you're alive, is actually very soft. It's like melted butter soft.
What the hell? They confirmed it back to back, so I'm guessing that's a part about our brains being like butters too, so I guess at the end it just becomes hard. I don't know, something I guess happens to make it looks like changes it into something else after. That's crazy, man. Especially when about with the Chuck E. Cheese animatronics. That sounds really like, you guys know what that sounds like, Five Nights at Freddy's. I wonder if that's based off of that. But they said they was hear like children laughter, cold spots, animatronics moving. They set up a webcam too. I wish we had that footage, man. I'm gonna have to dive deep, man, to try to find that footage to check it out. Yeah, like I said, everything, man, media's games, TV shows, bro, it's all based off of something, a true story. It comes from somewhere, man. If you guys stay with me to the end of the video, you're true seekers seeking the truth. I really appreciate the support. Like I said, guys, hit that like button, subscribe, hit that post notification bell, man, so we can take off in this algorithm and continue to grow. Guys can catch you in the next one, man, doing daily uploads for you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoy this, man. I know I do. Guys can catch you in the next one. I'm out. Peace, YouTube. What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. How you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are doing alright, man. If you guys are brand new to the channel and you guys don't know what we do, we break down scary, creepy videos, man, on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG videos, Facebook, man, anything weird, usual, and unexplained you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank you guys, man, who's been tapping into the channel, subscribing, hitting that post notification bell, hitting that like button, man. We're growing the community, the seekers together, so I really appreciate your support, man. Like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this new update, my new reacting style. Found this video for you guys today. Let's do what we do best. Let's seek the truth.
This is the Hello Kitty murder case, and it's one of the most gruesome true crime stories you may ever hear about. This happened in 1999, and Fan here was abducted by 3 men and a girl. Fan Man Yu was then held inside of a flat that one of the killers rented out for about a month. She was tortured and beaten, and they even tried to pimp her out. And apparently she was hung up and used as a punching bag. They even went as far as burning up her legs so that she couldn't even walk. She also had no real food to eat. They forced her to eat human feces. After that immense stress her body went through, she died after a little over a month being held captive there. This is where things get even crazier. They cut up her body, dismembered her completely, and then cooked up her head. They then stuffed her half-cooked head into a Hello Kitty mermaid doll. Investigators found this and found many insects inside of it as well. The rest of her dismembered body was discarded somewhere, The only pieces of evidence the investigators found was the skull inside of the Hello Kitty doll, some teeth on the ground, and organs in the freezer. Reading this story makes me just feel so horrible for Fan Man-Yi and the torture she went through. This is definitely the worst true crime case I've ever read about, and then there are just so many more details I can't even say. Let me know what you guys think about this case in the comment section below, and as always, these videos are for informational purposes only.
It's definitely one of the darkest cases, man, we heard.
Sent it to her friend. This is 20-year-old Emma Rigdon from St. Louis, Missouri. On April 15th of this year, Emma was with her son when she slapped his leg and put her hand over his nose and mouth. Obviously, this was preventing him from breathing. Emma decided to record this incident and send it to a friend.
What the
She also recorded another video of her covering her son's face with a blanket in her hand. This caused the boy to cry and grab at the blanket. Once she sent that video to her friend, she also sent a handful of text messages. The first text said, "I don't know, when I do that, I feel an adrenaline rush."
Yeah, she's weird.
The next text said, "I stopped right before he dies. Last time he was blue." The last twisted text she sent said, "I really want to unalive him, but I don't want to go to jail. It's unfortunate, but he's just going to have to pay for his existence." The boy ended up surviving his wounds, and now someone else is taking care of him. Emma was arrested and charged with abuse or neglect of a child.
Yeah, she should.
She remains in jail without bond.
The most disturbing cults in history, Part 1. These are the Anthill Kids, founded by this man, Roch Theriot, in Quebec, Canada. These events took place throughout the 70s and 80s. Using his excellent charismatic skills, he actually convinced a group of people to quit their jobs and follow him, promising unity and equality. He forbid them contact with their family and moved them out to the mountains. He called it Eternal Mountain. In 1978, he prepared for doomsday, having his followers build a town that could save them. He relaxed while they worked and compared them to ants on an anthill. To gain more followers and keep them devoted, he impregnated all female members. They were also forced to wear the same outfit, promoting equality.
Those are some dangerous people, man, who can like control and manipulate you like that, and just make you go against your family. Those are some dangerous people, man. Definitely gonna have to stay away from them. Isn't that Prince Harry? She didn't look like she was smiling. Fake relationship? What? It's a facade? Is that what they're trying to tell us? You know, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes with the royal family. It wouldn't be a surprise, would it? Edit. Gotta call it out like I said.
Here are some morbid facts about the Chernobyl nuclear disaster. Following the radiation leak, there were an estimated 150,000 abortions across Eastern Europe due to radiophobia. Many parents didn't want their babies to be born with mutations, even though the risk for most was quite low. Vasily Ignatenko was one of the first firemen to respond to the nuclear leak. After being exposed, he suffered in constant excruciating pain for 18 days before dying. He reportedly excreted blood more than 25 times per day and coughed up pieces of his own organs in those final days. When Pripyat was abandoned, people weren't allowed to bring their pets with them. Instead, firing squads were sent door to door to shoot pet cats and dogs so that they wouldn't transfer the radiation. Local ranchers noticed a dramatic increase in the genetic mutations of their animals following the leak. Some of the abnormalities included extra limbs and body parts in the wrong locations. It's been more than 4 decades since the Chernobyl accident, but experts estimate that Pripyat will remain uninhabitable for another 20,000 years.
This is the first day my Barbie became alive. It was trying to walk, so I helped it. I made a huge mistake. My Barbie is learning to talk in Ohio now.
That's weird. Barbie's alive?
These are the 4 most haunted dolls in the world. First is the Annabelle doll, which inspired the Conjuring movies, which, as you guys know, is one of the most haunted dolls in the world. She's able to not only move herself, but also move objects, and is supposedly inhabited by an extremely demonic being, forcing her to constantly be in a spirit box. Then have Ruby, which in my opinion is one of the most terrifying due to the fact that it's a porcelain doll, which all of our mothers and grandmothers have. Ruby doesn't do anything crazy, but the scariest part is supposedly the ancestor who had this doll prior passed while holding this doll, and now supposedly inhabits it. And it's a porcelain doll, which makes it absolutely terrifying. Then have Letta, who's a 200-year-old doll found underneath a house in Australia, said to make noises in the night, moved by itself. And the owner has a specific account of when he was moving, he heard this doll scream while being in the trunk, screaming, "Let me out." I'm good on everything that. Then you have Robert the doll, who in my opinion is probably the most haunted and cursed doll on this list. Said to be so cursed that if you take a picture or look at him without his permission, he can curse you. And this has happened to multiple people who decided to film Robert without his permission. This doll not only moves by itself, the previous owner has made multiple statements of hearing this doll run inside of the attic. On top of that, the neighbors have seen Robert peeking out the window in the second story, while no one was up there. These dolls, they're scary.
I'm not a dolls person, bro. I gotta keep the dolls away from me, man. They're just creepy to me. Was that doll alive though, the last one? Did we believe that, Seekers?
Have you guys heard of the Night Lady? This all started in Chihuahua, Mexico, 2009. Residents started noticing something really disturbing. You see, now some of the children in the area were going missing. I gotta grab some food for this one. Look at this beautiful roll. Now, with all the children around the area going missing, people started reporting seeing a woman. They said she would climb on the rooftops during the day, only to wait till night to sneak in through the window to snatch children. Police then sketched an image of what they believed to be the Night Lady. Only one child has been reported of actually escaping the Night Lady. You see, his parents had ran into the room and caught her just in time. She quickly then escaped and crawled out of the window. Wait, before I continue, let's say the Night Lady had taken you. Your third act has to come and save you. Who is it? Let me know who it is. Anyways, the kid that got away recounted waking up in the middle of the night and seeing the Night Lady standing over top of him, just watching him. People have brushed this off as just one big hoax. Until after midnight, a teenage girl had captured this photo. This is supposedly the Night Lady.
4K. Gotta believe when the kids are saying
This
that.
is a scary story about I'm Sorry Mommy. One night, a woman was in the kitchen reading a newspaper when she suddenly looked up and saw her 6-year-old son staring at her. She said, "Something wrong, dear?" "I had a nightmare," said the boy, "and I can't sleep." "Well, don't worry, you're safe now," said the mother. "I dreamed I was in bed and heard a sound in Daddy's room," he said. "And when I looked in the door, I saw 2 big black things with white eyes. It came out of the closet and it attacked Daddy." "Don't worry," said the mother in a soothing voice. "It was just a dream. It didn't really happen." The boy then continued saying they ripped him into pieces and then ate him after. And they even licked the blood off the floor. "I thought if I ran away they wouldn't catch me, but they did. They were going to eat me, but they stopped and said, they wouldn't eat me if I promised to..." "To what?" said the mother. "Promise to distract you while they creep up behind you." "I'm sorry, Mommy," said the boy, as the mother heard the floorboards behind her creak. The boy then watched with enjoyment as his mother was ripped apart piece by piece, with a giant smile on his face.
This is the most terrifying McDonald's you'll ever see. In 1986, the first floating McDonald's called the McBarge opened up. The plan was for the boat to travel around the world and for people to enjoy McDonald's everywhere. But then something crazy happened. The 5 employees that lived on the boat went crazy. They started to hear voices at night and even began hallucinating. All of this slowly started driving them insane. After 3 years of this, one fry cook decided enough was enough. She decided to end her life. Her body was discovered on this very boat the next morning. The McDonald's were forced to close and was even abandoned for over 20 years. It seemed like everyone forgot about this floating nightmare. This was the case until 2 years ago when a company decided to renovate the boat. And this article was published about renovating the boat. But a year later, there was still no news about it. And the McBarge was still abandoned. But then a couple YouTubers decided to swim and break into the McBarge. As they went around, everything was eerily silent. Life can fall off apart too.
Yeah, that didn't even make it like national news. You would think something like that would, right, Seekers? A floating McDonald's? Yeah, we ain't heard nothing about that. Why is that? Gotta put our thinking caps on for that one.
This girl killed her mum and then texted a photo of her body to her dad. In 2013, Rachel Hudson and her family were supposed to be celebrating Thanksgiving at their home in Virginia. However, the holiday would take a horrendously sinister turn. Rachel's mum was terminally ill 58-year-old Susan Lee. Rachel had been her mum's carer since she was just 9 years old. On the evening in question, Rachel and her dad got into an argument. When her dad left the house the next day to make the most of the Black Friday sales, Rachel did something unthinkable. She took a weapon out of the wardrobe and loaded it. She apparently thought about unaliving herself at this point, but she didn't want to put her mum through the trauma of finding her body. She then walked into the room where her mum was and said, "I'm sorry, this is what has to happen." Her mum apparently told her, "You're crazy," and this is the point where Rachel killed her mum. When she texted her dad to break the news to him, he obviously didn't believe what she was saying. She then took a photo of her mum's body and texted it over to her dad. Rachel was sentenced initially to 50 years in prison, but this was reduced to 18 years because of an apparent undiagnosed mental illness.
This is the scariest song
Imagine
in
a
the
dad
world,
getting
and
that
here's
message,
why.
bro.
Okay, so we all heard this song before, especially if you're into scary things and watch the Insidious movies. But do you know the very disturbing and chilling backstory behind this song? Well, the song is called Tiptoe Through the Tulips, and it was recorded and released in 1968 by American singer Tiny Tim.
Alright.
And when the song was first released, it didn't have the scary reputation it has now. However, this would change during his last ever live performance of the song. On September 28, 1996, Tiny Tim suffered a heart attack that was pretty miniature while performing at a music festival. And after this happened, his doctors advised him that he wasn't healthy enough to perform on stage anymore. However, Tiny Tim ignored the advice from his doctors and scheduled another concert at a women's club in Minnesota the next month. But right before his performance, he told his wife that he wasn't feeling that good. Nevertheless, Tiny Tim decided to go on stage anyway. And after performing the last song of the night, he suffered a major heart attack on stage and died in front of the crowd. And the song he was performing was Tiptoe Through the Tulips. This song was already terrifying, but it's 100 times more terrifying after knowing this. Now listen to it again after knowing this.
It's a different vibe. And shows and movies using that know what happened, man. There's always a dark story
On March
behind it.
19th, 2024, in Mississippi, 14-year-old Carly Gregg made a phone call to one of her friends saying, quote, "Do you want to see a body?" Moments after making the call, Carly's stepfather walked into the home to see his wife, Ashley Smiley, unalived from gunshot wounds. Ashley was a loved individual who friends and family claimed she was a, quote, "loving and caring teacher who wanted the best for her students." When her stepfather entered the home, at the same moment, Carly pulled out a gun and in the midst of the struggle, he was able to successfully disarm her, leaving Carly to escape the home, going on the run. It did not take police long to find and arrest her, and in most cases, children will be tried as a juvenile, but in Carly's case, she'll be tried as an adult for the unaliving of her mother and the attempted unaliving of her stepfather. From what I read on Reddit, people seem to be split 50-50 as they believe she should not be tried as an adult. What are your thoughts?
Why did she even do that, man? That's the real question we need to be asking. The story behind it. Need details on that case, seekers.
I'm alone and you hear a knock, don't answer the door. That was my grandmother's one rule when she left me the family house. I thought it was just the rantings of an old woman. I didn't know how real the rule was until the other night. The house I inherited was deep in the forest, far from bustling city noises. Silence was the unspoken language here, except sometimes you would hear the owls. But the other night when I was sitting in the living room reading a book, that's when I heard it. There was a single knock at the front door, and then I remembered my grandmother's warning. If you're home alone and you hear one knock, don't answer the door. I looked over at my grandfather clock in the corner. It was midnight. I told myself that the knock was just a figment of my imagination. It was just the house settling, or a fallen branch against the door. But then it came again, a single, solitary knock. But this time it sounded closer. I was panicking. I just stood there staring at the door. The third knock was so loud that it made the door rattle. There was no more denying it. Something was at the door.
If you see this happen, you need to run fast. If you see these orange dots on a tree in the woods, you seriously need to run fast.
It might just look like orange paint, but don't be fooled. This is a trap. There have been loads of reports of missing people in these types of woods. So if you see these orange markings in the woods, you need to run fast. Make sure you share this message and follow for more.
Why the hell was he there? He risking his life.
Now this video's got the internet going crazy because a guy in Melbourne, Australia is quite literally claiming that his dog was playing with a ghost. And after watching this, I bloody believe him. Now he insists that his backyard is fully secured and locked by a high fence where there is no way for another dog to get in. He also said that he ran outside to check if he hadn't lost the plot and that the ghost dog was nowhere to be seen. And if this video hasn't got you contemplating life, another video which has scarred me for life is this bastard. Now keep your eyes on the collar of the black dog on the right. So as you can see, the two dogs are just barking and barking, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, for some reason, they just go completely quiet. A few seconds later, the black dog then randomly jerks backwards into the side of the crate, and its collar comes off of its own accord.
Is that an edit or was that real?
Have you ever wondered why Domino's dropped their Noid mascot back in the 90s? Just like how McDonald's has Ronald McDonald and Burger King had the King, Domino's had the Noid. First created in 1986, the slogan was "Avoid the Noid," as he would try to thwart pizza deliveries.
Noid loves to move pizza. Whole Domino's pizza. We avoid the Noid.
But this all changed for Domino's on January 30th, 1989. On that day, Kenneth Lamar Noid took two Domino's pizza employees hostage with a .357 Magnum in Georgia. Now, the entire ordeal lasted about 5 hours, and his demands were $10,000, a getaway car, and a copy of the book The Widow's Son. He also demanded the employees make him a pizza. While he was enjoying the pizza, they managed to escape and no one was hurt. Kenneth was arrested and charged with kidnapping, aggravated assault, and theft by extortion. So what exactly did the Domino's Noid have to do with Kenneth Noid? He had become convinced that the ads were directly aimed at him, with his last name being Noid and the ad saying, "Avoid the Noid." One of the arresting officers at the scene said that he was having an ongoing feud in his mind. Believing that the commercials were made to mock him, he fully believed that the owner of Domino's Pizza was telling people to avoid him.
Avoid the Noid.
Avoid the Noid. Avoid the Noid.
Now, he was charged but found not guilty due to reasons of insanity and was sent to a Georgia mental health clinic. Domino's continued on as normal until another incident in 1995. Still convinced that the pizza chain was out to get him, Kenneth took his own life in his Florida apartment. Following this, the pizza chain immediately stopped using the Noid in their marketing campaigns. Since then, the Noid has made a few smaller appearances on t-shirts, in pinball machines, in a video game, and a small snippet in an ad. Now, in 2021, Domino's released an ad showcasing their new driverless delivery vehicles. The ad showing off that the Noid is back, but he has not been seen since that ad.
This true crime case will make your blood boil. Over a decade ago, 19-year-old Cara Nichols vanished. The teenager was born and raised in Colorado Springs and unfortunately had begun using substances throughout high school. She was reported missing on the 14th of October 2012. At this point, her roommates hadn't heard from her for 5 days. Police soon learned that she'd actually spoken to her brother on the phone on the 9th of October at around 11:45 p.m. She told him that she was on her way to a modelling shoot. The next day, unsettlingly, her phone was going straight to answer phone. It was actually her brother that ended up travelling to her apartment to figure out what was going on. He spoke to her roommates and the alarm was raised. Now, Cara's laptop was actually still at her apartment, which was concerning because if she just decided to up and left, she wouldn't have left her laptop behind. When investigators started digging into the case, they found that Cara had been placing ads as an S worker. Interestingly, she'd actually posted an ad with her phone number on it the same day she went missing. Police also found out that her phone had been used on that day too at almost midnight. Investigators started looking into exactly which numbers she'd received calls from and set about contacting the individuals. They got a return call of Joel Hollendorfer. He admitted to police that yes, he had spoke to the girl about S services, but they'd never ended up meeting. However, when police tracked Cara's phone, her last activity was in the area of Joel's parents' house. Police ended up searching the property with a cadaver dog. Disturbingly, the dog barked in loads of different areas on the property to indicate remains.
However, the owner of the property stated that this must be just because they have a lot of animals, and over the years the animals die and then they bury them in the back garden. The police were happy with this explanation and gave up on the search. They also though decided to interview Joel's wife, who strangely declined to cooperate with the investigation. Frustratingly, Kara's case went cold. On February the 8th, 2022, a decade after she went missing, police confirmed that they had found Kara's body. It was on that property they'd searched the whole time. Joel was obviously arrested. In February 2022, his wife decided to come clean to police. She told them that Joel had told her in 2014 that he accidentally killed an escort that he'd hired. He admitted that he accidentally strangled her to death and buried her near a dead horse on the property. Joel's defense in court claimed that he accidentally killed her in an S-act gone wrong and that she lost consciousness due to substance use. Shockingly, he was only convicted of manslaughter and got just 24 years in prison. This was a huge blow to Kara's family.
Telling you the system. Oh, we know what this is.
Sure to hide your little sister from him. 2 months ago, Drake was rumored to be dating, and currently has been rumored to be dating, the rapper Lotto's little sister, her 21-year-old little sister. Second, and I'm still trying to process Meet the Grams. I was not prepared for another drop. I was not ready for this, but here we are. So this is Drake's home. Featuring Kendrick's song Like That. Kendrick said, "Don't make me drop the location." He dropped the location. So in the cover art for the song that Kendrick just dropped, it's showing that there's 13 individuals in Drake's home, which I think like this symbolizes like Drake's camp, like potentially OVO. And OVO is made up primarily of 16 different individuals, including Drake. Drake has this very close entourage who are very closely associated with him on a friendship and a business level. Like for example, Baca Not Nice, he has been charged and faced prison time for trafficking. And when he got out of prison, Drake helped him become famous. What my theory is, and it's probably wrong, but there's 13 people here in this cover art. And there are 16 people a part of OVO that are like pillars in OVO, including Drake. Do the people missing from this cover art symbolize the OVO moles? Kendrick exposing Drake is going much further than just Drake being exposed. And I'm here for the tea. I'll probably make 500 more videos about these diss tracks. I'll see you guys in the next one.
It's crazy.
When Kendrick started off the song talking to Adonis, I immediately knew Drake was cooked. In my head, I was like, yeah, Drake, you done. You done. I could have turned off the song right then and there and said, yeah, Drake, you're cooked. You're finished. Retire. Because I have never heard a rapper talk to somebody kids. You know, talk to the dude who's like talking to a dude who he's beefing with, like his kids in the song. I've never heard that before. So when he said that, I was like, what the fuck? He said, yo, granddaddy should have worn protection. Like, oh my god. He said, yo, daddy didn't teach you shit. In my opinion, easily one of the most disrespectful lines in the entire song. When he told Adonis, let me be your mentor. Like, that is so disrespectful. Drake, me personally, if I had a son and somebody was talking about my son and telling them that, me personally, I'm just saying, babe.
Guys, you know there's been a lot of back and forth between Jake and Kendrick. How I guess Kendrick's trying to expose Drake, and they like going back and forth, man, exposing both things on both sides. What do you guys think, Seekers, man? Is there truth behind what both of them are saying? Because they've been going back and forth, and it doesn't seem like they're slowing down. This is going to be like a slugfest.
Kendrick into thinking he has a daughter. People are claiming this is the daughter. She said, I don't know when, but she said, I guess I'll just take over the world myself, throwing up the 6 Drake merch shop. P.S. Wish you were here. Yesterday, Kendrick said you need to know that love is eternity and trumps all pain. I'll tell you who your father is. Just play this song when it rains. Ooh. And her name, her username is Eternity. And she was in the background of a music video with J. Cole and Lil Durk. She said, who do you spy with your eye? Me, Eternity. Here I am with Real Cold World, J. Cole, Lil Durk. It was such an honor. Thanks, Pops. Who's her Pops?
Yeah.
Dear baby girl, I'm sorry that your father not active inside your world. He don't commit to much but his music. Yeah, that's for sure. You lied about your son. You lied about your daughter. Huh? You lied about them other kids that's out there hoping that you come. Last year, she just turned 10. She just turned 11. Bruh, Kendrick dropped on her birthday. But people are saying in the background of Drake's Family Matters music video, you can see posters of the girl who people are claiming is Drake's daughter, aka proving that Kendrick was indeed baited. Drake is a genius. If this is true, Drake is smart as hell. But at the same time, he still got bodied. He's still not coming back from that diss.
Someone in Drake.
What do you guys think? Does Drake have a secret daughter, or was it like I said, or it was a freaking genius move on his part? It was just a bait, and Kendrick took it.
Drake's camp who's plotting on his downfall. As we all know, we got this new track from Kendrick at 6 a.m. to respond to Drake for the second time. People are saying it's another diss track, but I think it's a personal message for Drake to let him know about his inner circle. It's a known fact that every time Drake gets in a beef, he pays his people to find dirt on the person that he has an issue with. Low-key just makes it easier. If I'm Drake, what do I look like going on Google to find info about my ops? I'm dropping a bag. But what if the person you have beef with lives one of the most peaceful lives, like, ever? It completely backfires. Somehow gets right back to the person that you have the issue with. This becomes the main message in 616 in LA.
There's a mole inside OVO, but I heard that kind of Drake, he kind of like, he can say he planted all that information, so it was just fake. And I guess whoever it was, if there was a mole, they just gave themselves up, and he knows now. It's like they playing these mind games back and forth, Kendrick and Drake. It's like, damn. This ain't just, to me, this ain't no freaking regular beef. It's like, they're throwing, like I said,
With the support of this album to back it, Kendrick is literally saying he has nothing to hide. I mean, this album talked about it all. In that album, he said he cheated on his wife, had family issues. That whole album was basically a therapy session. Any dirt that Drake's trying to find on Kendrick right now is pointless. Drake's paying people to find info while he's sitting on the couch like this. It's a perfect alley-oop to see what Drake's gonna do next. Could it be something like Back to Back that's a straight hit record and just can't be avoided? Or will we see a poorly made diss track that has no chance of winning this battle? Only time will tell, but it's undebatable that these two are the greatest artists of our generation.
Drake and Kendrick Lamar got in a rap battle. Who do you think would win?
Gotta go with Kendrick. I'm just saying, I think Drake is an outstanding entertainer, but Kendrick, his last album was outstanding.
Obama saw this couple of freaking years ago, where he's a damn prophet. What the hell? It's like my people, they already was picking sides back then, man. So Obama got freaking Kendrick over Drake. Is that insane? Is that crazy, man? You know, everybody has their freaking side, bro. This beef, man, is gonna go off for a minute. That's it, YouTube. If you guys stay with me to the end of the video, your true seeker is seeking the truth. I greatly appreciate the support, man. Like I said, hit that subscribe button, man. Hit that like button. Let's grow our community, the seekers, together. Like I said, man, I'm trying to do everything I can to upgrade this channel, so I greatly appreciate your support. You guys hitting that like button. It makes everything possible. Follow me on my social medias, man. Send me the videos that you guys want to react to. I'm out. Peace, seekers.